guys, it's Carolyn with Crafting with Wine, and I'm coming back on to share another 2-page 12 by 12 scrapbook layout, all cut in Cricut Design Space, and I cut it on my maker. And this is a layout that's going to go in a wedding album, and it was a fall wedding. It was actually a Halloween wedding, so that is cool. So it's not your traditional wedding album by any means. What I've done is I've started with some old, well, it's not real old, it's probably a couple years old, graphic 45 paper that I have left, and I'm trying to think it was, let me see if I can find a strip. Nouveau Artistry, Graphic 45 Nouveau Artistry collection. So I love this piece of cardstock that I used for the background. So I made my dark green layer 11 1/4 by 11 1/4 instead of 11 1/2 because I wanted more of this rose pattern paper coming through. So I've done that, and then I have a border, and all of this, everything except for the solid, some of the solid colors that I'm going to use is from that Graphic 45 line. All my cardstocks are. I have this border piece, and it came from a card that I tore all of the parts off of it and wanted just, I like the shape of this border. And it's cut at 11 1/2 by 3 3/4. Actually, it's 11 1/4 by 3 3/4, and it comes from Three Birds Life's a Party cartridge. Then I wanted to add some ribbon at the bottom, and I just used my ATG gun and placed that on, and it's got a gold foiled trim on both sides. It's just out of my stash. It probably came from Hobby Lobby. It did come from Hobby Lobby, and I just put that on the bottom to try to dress it up a little bit. So I am going to flip this over, and yes, it's double-sided paper, and lay this down. I'm going to line it up to the bottom of my deep green blue layer. And I'm going to put it right there. Now, the next thing that I cut is this giant tree, and the tree had little hanging hearts and stuff coming from off of it, and I just cut those out of the design and didn't cut them. My tree is cut at 9.89 inches wide by 11 1/2 inches high, and it comes from one of the Miss Kate's Cuttables images that is in Cricut Design Space. And it's called Love Letters from the cartridge. And I know I'm going to cut some of this off, and I just want to line it up down here toward the bottom. So I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to put some of my ATG gun on it where I can, but I'm also going to have to use some wet glue just to make sure it all stays down well. And I use the Ranger Multi-Medium Matte. It's my favorite wet glue. I probably didn't need to put any on that side. I wasn't thinking, because it'll be cut off. Excuse me. taking a big break after that National Scrapbooking weekend because I did 4 that weekend, so I needed some time to recoup. Okay. I'm going to bring it down to the edge of my bottom layer of my ribbon. And I'm not worried about the glue some of the glue that has oozed out, because it does dry matte and you can't tell that it was ever there. Now, my next image also comes from Miss Kate's Cuttables, which is in Cricut Access or Design Space, and it's the sun, and it comes from Summer Memories, and it's cut at 5.84 by 5.85, and I'm going to put it up here like this, and this had lots of different layers and a face and stuff on it, and I didn't want those things, so I just ungrouped it and took it apart and deleted the parts I didn't want and kept the parts that I wanted to use. I just love the curly Q of the sun rays. I thought it was pretty cool. So I'm going to put it right there. Now I'll flip this over and cut off my excess pieces. The yellow of the sun was not from the cardstock or that Graphic 45. It was from some that I have in my stash. So there we go there. Let me get these bits and bobs out so I can get those thrown away. And then the next thing I have is 2 photo mats, and I wanted to use a brighter color, and that's the reason I chose this bright green, because I wanted my photos to pop a little more, and I thought using the matte in a brighter color would help to make that happen. And this photo mat, the green part, is cut at 7.5 by 5.5. And then this pattern paper, which comes from that Graphic 45 line, is cut at 7.25 by 5.25, and it'll hold a 5 by 7 photo. So, and then I inked around the green with my vintage photo distress ink so that I could tone down the color a little bit. And I'm going to put it at an angle right there. And then I have another photo mat, and this is 4.5 by 4.5, and then the pattern is 4.25 by 4.25, and will hold a 4 by 4 photo. Now I'm going to overlap my photo mat, so I was measuring this to where I did not want to put any adhesive. And I'm going to put that one right there. It's a simple, easy layout, and it goes together very quick. I'm going to have to come back and put some extra wet glue right there to make sure that stays down, and some of my sun rays as well. So that finishes the left side of this layout. And then I have my right side. I've used the exact same papers and the same ribbon, and I've already got this all glued down. And with this, I'm going to put my title on this page, and I can run out of space very easily. So what I'm going to do is that I took the negative space from where I cut out my title, and my title says there is sunshine in my soul today, and I'm going to line this up where I want it on my page, and I'm going to lay that down just so that I can see how I want it to lay down. And then I've ran all of these words through my Creative Sticker Maker. So what I'm going to do is peel this up and be able to stick it down. And I pulled my is off. So what I'm going to do is line it up back into the negative space. With these little thin parts of the letters, it does get tricky to get it off without stretching it out of place and not ripping it. Okay. And I'm just going to line this up in my negative space here. And I think I forgot to tell you about the size of my title. I had it was all grouped together. So when I cut it at 5.51 inches wide by 6.05 inches wide, and it comes from Cricut Access, and it came from a cartridge called Baby It's Hot Outside. So I'm gonna pause right here and finish doing this because you can see how I'm lining everything up. I got the dots to my eyes right there, so I'll wet glue those into place. So let me get the rest of my letters down, and I'll be right back. Okay, that didn't take very long to get those down. So I got it all down, and I got my little dots to my eyes on there too. I have another 5x7 photo mat that I'm going to place down, or it'll hold a 5x7 photo. It's actually 7.5 by 5.5. And then I inked around the edges of it as well. I'm going to put it right there. Then I have another 4.5 by 4.5 photo mat that will hold a 4x4 photo. I'm going to put it right there. And then my next image that I have is a little pair of lovebirds. The lovebirds were on a different branch, and I didn't like the branch, so I cut it away and took it away after I cut it out. And my little lovebirds themselves is cut at 4.96 by 3.75, and it comes from the cartridge Couples in Love. And then my branch was another whole image, and I cut my branch at 5.49 inches by 3.11 inches, and it comes from the Cricut cartridge Hoot and Holler. And I'm going to place it right here. So I don't want any adhesive on those two leaves because they're going to come over my photo mat. And then I also popped their little wings up on foam tape, so it gave them some dimension. I like one layer of foam tape. Oh, I put adhesive on the wrong one. Let me get that off. don't want any on that leaf. I want it on this one. Yes, now we're good. And I'm going to put them right there. And that finishes this 2-page 12 by 12 scrapbook layout. And I think it's going to be beautiful. I love all of the different images, and I like having to think and come up with very different layouts for a wedding album. So I hope you guys like this layout, and thank you so much for your support and your thumbs up and subscribing, and we'll talk again real soon. Cheers.